Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. In this tutorial I will show you how you can make this beautiful Cleopatra top. I named it like this because I don't know, the yoke reminds me of Cleopatra. So I hope you like the name, and let's see what materials we will need to make this. I use for it Fair Cotton by Katia Yarns. The recommended needle is 3 or between 2.5 and 3.5 millimeter crochet hook, but I will use a 3.5 millimeter or E size, and I'm using these colors that I have over here. 3 of them are already used in my Happy Place tee, so it's leftover yarn. And for the main color, the sky blue that I used is you'll need only 2 skeins of 50 grams for size small. So this tutorial is for size small, but as usual you can find the written pattern for bigger sizes on my blog, and I will let a link in the description below. So we are starting with our foundation chain. We will need 120 stitches for our foundation. Because you saw those triangles that we have on the yoke, the first round of triangle will have a base of 5 stitches. So in case you want to increase or decrease the neckline, then you will have to chain a multiple of 5. After finishing the 120 stitches, we will just slip stitch to join into a circle and then chain 1, and this first round will be only in single crochet. So just make 1 single crochet into each stitch to the end of the round. I have a previous pattern using the same triangles technique with the wall hanger, and it's also a video tutorial on YouTube. If you want to start this pattern with triangle with something small, that will be a perfect project for you. After finishing the first round, just join with a slip stitch and chain 1. And we will do 1 single crochet into the next 5 stitches. We start now to work our first triangle round, and each triangle is worked individual. So after making 5 single crochet, chain 1 and turn. Then single crochet 2 together to decrease with 1 stitch, and 1 single crochet into the next 3 stitches. And we will continue to decrease with 1 stitch at the beginning of each row until we have only 1 stitch left or only 1 decrease. So now chain 1. On this round we will have 1 decrease and only 1 single crochet into the last stitch, chain 1, and finish the triangle with 1 decrease. Now, to get on the base and start working on our second triangle, we will have to slip stitch on the side of the triangle. So we had 5 rows in total. We will have 5 slip stitches because we will slip stitch into each side row. And after 5 slip stitches, you will do 1 more into the next stitch, which will be the first one where the next triangle will start, and then chain 1 and 1 single crochet in that stitch. And we continue with 4 more single crochet, so 1 single crochet into the next 4 stitches, and we start working at our second triangle. And in the same way, you will have to repeat all around until you will complete the entire round. We started with 120 stitches, so in the end you will end up with 24 triangles. The only difference is at the last triangle, because you have to finish the last stitch, the last decrease stitch, the last single crochet 2 together with the second color that you will want to use. This only if you want to use more colors, more than one color. If not, this step is not mandatory, changing the yarn. You will just have to build a base for the second round of triangle on the next round. We will finish the second triangle together. I'm going with the slip stitches now to the base, and then continue and add one triangle next to each other until you'll get to the end of the round. This is the last triangle that I was working on, and as I said, the last stitch, the last single crochet 2 together will be finished with the second color that I will use for this yoke, like this. So yarn over with the other color and pull it through. And now we will start building the base of our second round of triangles. Chain 1 single crochet in that top stitch of the current triangle, and then because we have to increase also, it's a yoke, so we have to increase, we will have to chain 6. So on this second round of triangles, the base of the triangles will be of 7 stitches, not only 5 as on the first one. So after chaining 6, 1 single crochet on the top stitch of the next triangle, and repeat, chain 6, 1 single crochet, chain 6, 1 single crochet until you complete the round. At the end of the round, we will finish with chain 6 and slip stitch into the first single crochet. And now we will start with our triangles. So chain 1 single crochet in that first stitch, and then 1 single crochet into each of the next chain stitches, which will be 6. And you'll have in total 7 single crochet. The pattern for the triangle is the same, so decrease with 1 stitch at every beginning of the row except the first row, and instead of 5 rows as we had at the first round of triangles, we will have now 7, because we started with more stitches, with 7 stitches, but the pattern is the same. At every beginning of the row, just make that single crochet 2 together, and then continue with 1 single crochet into each of the next stitches, chain 1 and turn, and repeat until you have only 2 stitches left, and your last stitch of the triangle will be a single crochet 2 together. We will continue to make this first triangle together. And then I will skip the video, letting you make the entire round with triangle, and we will do the third round of triangles. Well, first the base round and then the triangles. And for all sizes, it doesn't matter if you want to make a bigger size than size small, we will have on the yoke only 3 rounds of triangles. This because if you keep increasing and make the triangles bigger, then the spaces between triangles will be bigger, plus it will be too low, too much, too deep, and then it will be under your breast or something, and I don't think it will look nice. Unless you want, I don't know, beach cover or bikini cover blouse or something like that. But anyways, this pattern we will work only 3 rounds of triangles, and then we will start with our main stitch and continue the yoke. I finished the first triangle. The same, to get to the base round you will have to slip stitch into each side row, so you will have 7 slip stitches. 8 with the one into the first stitch of the next triangle, then start with chain 1 single crochet into the next 7 stitches. First stitch, first triangle of each, first stitch of each triangle will be that single crochet that we made on the top of the triangle on previous round. This is what I missed here, so I didn't have 7 stitches in total, I had only 6. So you have to pay attention at this, that first stitch of each triangle will be the single crochet, and then the next 6 stitches will be made in the chain stitches. So continue like this, adding the triangles, and the same as we did at the first round, we will stop and finish the last stitch of the triangle, the last single crochet together, with the third color that I was using on this yoke, which is this light green. And we are putting the base of the third row, and because we are increasing again, we will do 8 chain stitches between each single crochet. So 1 single crochet, chain 8, then 1 single crochet in the top stitch of the next triangle. And this will be repeated to the end of the round. And after finishing this round, we will work on our third round of triangles, which will be this time with a base of 9 stitches. So the triangles are getting bigger and bigger. But this will be the last round. We will work the triangles in the same way. So chain 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and 1 single crochet into the next 8 chain stitches. And the pattern will be the same. After the first row, chain 1 and turn, and then each row starts with 2 single crochet or single crochet 2 together, or 1 decrease, whatever you want to call that stitch. And you will keep decreasing at each beginning of the row until you have 2 stitches left, and the last stitch of a triangle will be a single crochet 2 together. And the same, after finishing the first triangle, you will have to slip stitch into each side row, single crochet side row, to get through to the base round, where you will start your second triangle or next triangle. Let's continue working this first triangle together, and then we will meet at the end of the round after completing all triangles to see what we will have to do next. Okay, just a few stitches and a few rows, of course. We have now 2, and now chain 1, and we will finish the triangle with single crochet 2 together, and then go with slip stitches into each side row. It will be 9 slip stitches in total, 10 with the one that we are making to go into the first stitch of the next triangle, which will be in the single crochet. You can start this second triangle also directly with 1 single crochet. It won't change anything if you find it easier. Now we are changing again the color, and we are starting to work with our base color or main color, as you wanted to call it. So in the same way as we did until now, we will finish the last stitch with this new color that we will want to use. And this our next round will be the same as the base round for triangles, but as I said, we won't make any triangle rows. So chain 1 and 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and then because we need to increase again to keep this round yoke, we will chain 10. So 1 single crochet, chain 10, and then 1 single crochet into the top stitch of the next triangle. And we will repeat like so to the end of the round. Chain 10, and again 1 single crochet in the top stitch of the next triangle. I will continue to work on this round. Finish the round with chain 10 and then slip stitch into the first single crochet. And now the next round will be just in single crochet, so make 1 single crochet into each stitch, just to be easier to build our next stitch pattern. It will be easier to see each stitch round. So now just single crochet into each stitch. At the end of the round, slip stitch into the first single crochet, and now we will start to work at our pattern, and it will be an increase round. So chain 3 and 1 half double crochet into the same stitch, then chain 1, skip 1, and 1 half double crochet into the next. Repeat 6 times or until you have 6 spaces. Maybe it's easier this way. And after 6 spaces, we will do again an increase. The increase will be with 1 half double crochet, chain 1, and 1 half double crochet in the same stitch. And we will repeat with this pattern with 6 spaces, 1 increase to the end of the round. And this will be the last row, the last round of increases for this side that we are working. And we will talk from now on about spaces, because it will be easier to count and see how many stitches we will need. It will be easier even when we will have to divide the yoke into sleeves and body. It will be easier for us to count only the spaces. So continue with 6 spaces and 1 increase. The increase will be 1 half double crochet, chain 1, 1 half double crochet into the same stitch to the end of the round. Okay, so just repeat this pattern. And when you'll get at the end of the round, we will meet there in a second. Just working a few more stitches here. And at the end of the round I had 2 stitches left instead of 1, so I have to skip one and join with the slip stitch into the second chain, and this is what I will do. So I will skip those 2 stitches, it won't take any difference in the end. And now we will continue with our pattern. You will have in total 154 spaces. So start into the next chain 1 space and chain 3, and then 1 half double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, skip the half double crochet, and 1 half double crochet into the next chain 1 space, and continue like this to the end of the row. And then I will show you how to start the next round, and you'll have to repeat these 2 rounds until the yoke will be done. And these are 10 rounds with these windows in total. It will be easier to count this way. So this is the second, and we will do until we will have 10 in total. On the next round you will have to start in the chain space behind. So you start in the one before or in the one after the stitch, after the joining stitch, and now you have to start in the one before. Just to have, so you will alternate 1 round in the stitch after, 1 round in the stitch before, just to keep a straight, approximate straight line and not going into the left only. Okay, so I did the 10 rows in this mesh stitch, and now I place 2 stitch markers to mark the body stitches and the sleeves, and I have 41 spaces for front and back and 36 for the sleeves. I told you that we had 154 in total, so I divided the entire number of spaces into sleeves and body. And we will start our next row with chain 3, going into the next chain space and make 1 half double crochet, and we will continue with this stitch pattern until we will get to the first stitch marker. So we are working now the back of our top. When we get to the stitch marker, we will do chain 6. We will do an armpit chain just to, even if the yoke is deeper enough to be comfortable to wear, I'm making this armpit chain just to make the top a bit wider. And then continue, skip the stitches for the sleeves and continue with the stitch pattern, working the front. And when you finish to work the front, you'll have to skip the stitches for the sleeve and chain 6, and then join with the second chain of the starting chain. Okay, so now I'm skipping the stitches for the sleeve, chain 6, and slip stitch into the second chain. And this was the separating round. And now we will continue in the same manner with the same stitch pattern, making this mesh stitch, but working the half double crochet into the chain spaces, not into the previous round half double crochet. You have to start the round and alternate with making 1 stitch after and 1 stitch before on the 1 space before on the other row, and you will have to repeat this pattern until you will get to the desired length. Because I wanted a crop top, I just made 18 rows in total with the separating row, because at the end we will add 3 more rows with triangles, so it will be a little bit more length. So in case you want a longer top to be longer, or maybe you want a dress, why not? Then you'll have to take into consideration those 3 rounds of triangles that we are adding at the end, and adjust the length according to that. So now I'm continuing working the first row after the separating round. You have to work into the armpit chain as well, and you have to follow the same pattern, so skip 1 stitch when is the case. And then going into the next stitch. So basically in that armpit chain you will have 3 spaces. So we are adding 3 spaces at our bust circumference. So this will mean we started with 82 when we divided, now we will have 88 in total. And also on the sleeves we're adding those 3 spaces. Let's continue and work in our stitch pattern like this until we will complete 18 rounds. And then we will start working on our triangles rounds again. So now continue working in the same manner, following the same stitch pattern until you have in total 18 rounds, or as many as you wish, to get to the desired length. We have in total 88 spaces, which means 176 stitches. And the most close is to make a round with 7 stitches as a base for our triangle. This will mean that we will end up needing 175 stitches instead of 76, but we will decrease with 1 stitch at the beginning of the row just to make sure that we will have the needed amount of stitches. I changed the color again with lighter green, which was our 3rd round of triangles on the yoke. If you want, you can make 1 round in single crochet and then start making the triangles. So I will do the triangles directly, and then, as I said, I made 1 decrease here to make sure that I will have 175 stitches. And I will continue with 6 more single crochet. So I will have 7 single crochet in total as a base for my first triangle. The triangles will be worked in the same way as we work them on the yoke. We will do 3 rounds of triangles using the same 3 colors as we used for the yoke. And each round will be with triangles of 7 stitches as a base, so we don't need to increase in our base round. So always we will have, well, it will be there will be 2 rounds like this with 6 stitches, yeah, between the chain stitches between the single crochet after completing 1 round of triangles. Let's make the first triangle together again. Even if I know that you did so many triangles until now, so it's nothing new for you, so it's the same pattern. After first row, decrease with 1 stitch, making single crochet 2 together at the beginning of each row until you have 2 stitches left, and you will finish the triangle with single crochet 2 together. Then slip stitch on the side of the triangle, making 1 slip stitch into each side row, 1 more into the first stitch of the next triangle, or if you want you can start directly with one single crochet, which will be the first stitch of the next triangle. This is my last stitch. Now I'm going with slip stitches. If you work with a different thickness or something and you have less stitches, you'll have to just count the stitches and see how many stitches you can make for the base. You can make 5 or 9 if you have more stitches, okay? Just count and see how many stitches you will need for the triangle. Each triangle has to have and start with an uneven or odd number of stitches. Okay, so at the end we will finish again the triangle with the second or next color that we will want to use, and it will be the same with one single crochet and then chain 6. And it will be the same base row on the next one before starting to work on our third round of triangles. And continue working like this, 3 rounds. Now that I'm thinking it will look nice, a dress with this pattern. So I'm curious if some of you will want to make a dress, and I'm curious to see photos with it. And after completing these 3 rounds, basically the top is done in the manner that I did it. You can add more length on the sleeves if you want, or even add triangles on the sleeves if you want. It's the same. This is the top, how it's looking after waving all the yarns or the ends and blocking. So this is how it looks. I really hope you enjoyed this Cleopatra top, and I hope you will make it. Thank you again for watching, and see you next time with another interesting tutorial. Bye bye!